Hi students, today we're going to learn about one of the most important systems in human, which is the digestive system. In this video, we're going to see about the function of the system besides knowing the flow of the food and also to know each part of the digestive system and their respective function. What is the function of the digestive system? This system is important to break down the different classes of food into its simplest version and then help the body, especially the blood capillary, to absorb the nutrients. The nutrients will be brought to all the body parts for different purposes. So this is the overall structure of the digestive system, starting from the mouth all the way down until anus. So this mouth contains the salivary gland and the tongue, and then we have esophagus, we have stomach, duodenum, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, and anus. We also have liver, gallbladder, and the pancreas. So before I talk further about each of the structure, I would like to introduce about epiglottis. Epiglottis is a flap-like structure at the back of the throat here to actually closes over the trachea to prevent the food from entering into it. Because trachea is the pathway for air to enter from nose to the lung. So we don't want the food get stuck in the trachea and causing the difficulty in breathing. So here is the flow of the food from mouth to anus. So these are the structures that involve. If you notice, there will be three structures missing from the previous one, which is the liver, gallbladder, and the pancreas. These three structures is important for digestion, but indirectly, which means the food won't be entering into this structure. They only produce some chemicals that is important for the digestion to happen, but the food won't be entering into this particular parts. Now we're going to learn about mouth. There will be two types of digestion will happen in mouth. One is the physical digestion and second one will be the chemical digestion. The physical digestion happen because of the teeth. This teeth will actually mechanically break down food into small pieces. And then the small pieces of food will mix with saliva by the presence of tongue to actually break down the starch into sugar. So the saliva contains the amylase, the enzyme called amylase, to break down the starch into sugar. And then the digested food will enter esophagus. It's a long tube where that will move the food from the throat to the stomach through the process called peristalsis. Peristalsis is the contraction and relaxation of muscles. So here no digestion will happen. The food will be just moved all the way from throat to the stomach in the form of pellet or bolus. And then the food will enter stomach. In the stomach, there will be two types of chemical. One is the hydrochloric acid, which is to kill the microorganism in the food. And then the food will actually mix with the stomach juice that contain the enzyme called protease. This protease enzyme specifically is to break down protein into amino acids. The food found in the stomach will be called as chyme. And then the process continues into the small intestine. The small intestine is about 7 meters long. The lining of the intestine wall has a finger-like projection called villi. Villi is important to increase the surface area for better absorption of nutrients. Okay, this is the structure of villi, where they have a very thin epithelium to make sure the absorption happens efficiently. And they will be surrounded by two different lines here we call as lacteal, and one is blood capillaries. The lacteal actually to absorb the fatty acids and the glycerol, and the blood capillaries is to actually absorb the sugars and the amino acids. The pancreatic juice is the one helping the digestion in the small intestine. The pancreatic juice contains three types of enzyme: amylase, protease, and lipase. Amylase is the specific enzyme to actually break down the starch into sugar. The protease is to break down the protein into amino acid. And lastly, the lipase is to turn the fat into fatty acid and glycerol. Sugar, amino acids, fatty acid, and glycerol are three basic or simplest version of carbohydrate, protein, and fat respectively. So these structures are small enough to be absorbed by the blood capillaries and lacteal accordingly. Okay, so small intestine is very important because this is the final place where digestion happens. So all these classes of food, carbohydrate, protein, and fat will be digested here and absorbed into our blood capillary and lacteal in small intestine. Here, the extra thing also will absorb, for example, water, vitamins, and mineral, but the digestion ends here. No more digestion will happen after this. Then what happened in large intestine? Large intestine is the place where all the undigested and unabsorbed food will go. Here, only the water, minerals, and vitamins will be reabsorbed. So, remember, no digestion will happen because digestion ends in small intestine. Here, only reabsorption of certain nutrients. And then the unwanted one will be formed as feces. The feces will be stored in the rectum for a short term and then will be removed through anus. Okay, what about the parts that food do not enter? Do you remember? There will be three parts, which is the pancreas, the liver, and the gallbladder. So the function of liver and gallbladder is here. So you see, liver is actually to produce bile and gallbladder to store it. And what is bile? Bile is a chemical which flows into the small intestine to break down the large fat molecules into tiny droplets. This is important to actually help the lipase in digesting the fat. Since fat is a very complex molecule, the lipase cannot straight away act on it. So we need this bile actually to help the fat to make it into tiny droplets first before the fat be digested into fatty acid and glycerol by the presence of lipase. And the pancreas will produce the pancreatic juice. This pancreatic juice is the one helping the digestion in the small intestine. This pancreatic juice is the one containing the amylase, protease, and lipase. So examples of questions that you can expect from this digestive system. So we already learned all the parts and their functions. So the question will be mostly about the parts. They ask you to label some of the parts. Sometimes they ask you to know to answer the functions and so on. So here you can see X and Y. So what is X? This is the gallbladder. Y is the stomach. So that's what they ask you to do. And then second one, you have to complete this with the suitable terms. Hope this video helped you to understand about the digestive system. Thank you for your attention.